Hello, Valen. After I was typing that last text, I realized that it may have been a little overwhelming. It just made a lot of sense in my head as I was explaining it, but I realized you might not have looked inside of walls before and have not done any fishing before in your life, so it may seem difficult. But I wanted to explain this real quick. If you picture that smoke detector right there and think of that as being one of the speakers that you had on your ceiling, if you did have those in-wall speakers I was talking about, you would use one of these little saws right here. So that's just, a keyhole saw, or there it is. And, whatever, that's might be like $8 or something like that. And you just take that and drill your, like say or just cut your 7-inch hole right there. And then that's it. So you won't, obviously your speaker won't be in yet, but it'll just be a big hole in the ceiling. Since if you had a finished basement, when you bought the house, more than likely there's no insulation in the floor, which is great. But if there is, whatever, there's just some other techniques that can be done. It's just a little bit harder, but the whole process is the same. But here we have this. This is the second floor, so our trusses up here, they go this way, in this direction for sure. Meaning they're there, and then 24 inches over here. There's another one that goes here, and then 24 inches over. It goes that way. So you down here in your situation, you'll have joists down there, and they'll be every 16 inches. But hopefully they go in that direction. Meaning, like if you had a speaker over there and a speaker here, you definitely want your joists to go this direction. If they don't go that direction, then you're screwed and you need to use that wire mold. However you were thinking before, you need to do that. But let's just pretend they go the right way. If they do, then after you drill your 7-inch hole, sorry, I'm trying to hold this in with a broken shoulder. So we have this 7-inch hole that'll be right there. And when you do that, you're going to pretend that you're going to end up running the wire, which is basically throwing it. You're going to throw it all the way down right there. So now you have the corner. So the wall right there goes right there, here, and there's that. So now there's this, obviously this is just a switch plate, but the plate that I sent you the link for, it would just have, it would be like a little cable outlet. So it would just have like just one round hole right in the middle there, but pretend that's that. So basically right here, it would look like this. It would be mounted just like that, and it would just have that one hole right there. But I sent you something else that looked, it was like a little an orange weird thing from Home Depot. So that thing you would actually place right up almost against right there. You just move it out about a 1/4 inch and then just cut that other thing in. And then you'd have, a hole right here that's like say 2.5 inches by like 3.5 inches right there. So what happens is when you cut your 7-inch hole right there, you basically just throw your wire down this way. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you're going to fish the other direction. So, but whatever, you have an opening here and an opening there. So you can use whatever means that you need to get wire from A to B. But when you have your wire here, since you probably don't do a lot of sheetrock repair and stuff like this, I would avoid having to, I would just destroy this whole thing right here and then, get a drill above and do some stuff like that. But I'd have to repair the sheetrock. But I don't advise you do that. So this would be right here for you. So you would see that. And this right here, you'd have another one, unfortunately. It wouldn't be right here. You'd have to mount it down 1 3/4 inches because there is right here, there'll be a top plate that's, in your case, a 2x4 or 2x6 right there, right, sitting right there. So you can't drill it right there because you'll end up hitting it. So you have to come down right here. So when you did that, you would end up having, hold on, let me hold this thing. You would end up having your 2 overhead speaker wires coming out of the hole right here, and then they'd be seeable from there to here. So basically it would, you'd see them coming out of your ceiling there, and you'd have a little like 3.5 inch loop, or, I don't know, a little swoop that goes right there into the wall right there. So then once you have that right there, of course, this thing will be moved and you'll have that little orange hole right there for right now. That little orange hole, you'll be able to see into your wall. And then when you look down at the floor right here, you'd have another one of those that would be something like that, however you want, it doesn't matter. I mean, it can be like this or like that, and it'd be the same thing with the one hole. So, but before this is on, you'd have that that orange thing right there at the bottom, and then so you'd see inside your wall there, and then you'd see inside your wall right there. And before you pull any speaker wire, I would advise you just pull some string in between. So if you pictured the hole at the bottom, hole at the top, once you're at the top right there, hook your string or put your string on something heavy, something just tiny and heavy. So once you stick it in the wall and just let it go, it just falls all the way down to the bottom. So once you go to the bottom, you can easily just pick out the string and you're good to go. So, at that point, you would just, wherever, let's say your stereo is over there, you grab your stereo, that run it along, however you're going to run it to that spot. And then you're just going to jump inside the wall right there. Once you're in the wall, it'll be hidden inside your wall up to the top right there. You'll see the 3-inch swoop outside of the wall, but then everything's all, back in your ceiling. Then it will go up inside your ceiling, hidden to that speaker, and then hidden to the other speaker. Again, that is if the joists go are parallel to your couch. If they're perpendicular, you're screwed. And the only way you can find that out is a stud finder, which if you don't have one, maybe somebody around you does have one. If not, I would think they're very cheap. They're very frustrating and they work very poorly, meaning they're probably really cheap. I don't really know how much they are, but maybe $15, $20. But maybe you can just borrow one if you don't want to do that. But anyways, hopefully that spells out a little bit on what you need to do. Oh, the one other thing is if this was a location that had your side speakers, you just drill with that little saw, like your 7-inch hole or whatever, say right there. And then once you drill that hole on your side speaker, or for that side speaker, you do the same thing. Drop that string right down with something heavy. It go all the way to the bottom right there, and then in that spot as well, you'd have something, whichever orientation you want, go like that, and then you'd be able to grab whatever out, so that you'd basically be able to fish it inside the wall. You wouldn't need to see any of the wires. So the stuff that's on the wall, those speakers, you could end up painting them so they look pretty slick. So pretty much the only thing that you'd see just your speakers on the ceiling that are very flush, and then the wall, they would be a completely flush speaker. The only thing you would see is 2 of those little plates right up at the on the same plane as your speakers. You just see 2 of those at the top, and then at the very bottom, in your back speakers, you would see 1 of those plates on the ground. So just 1 on the ground there, and then you'd see 1 on the ground from your left side speaker, and 1 on the ground from your, I forgot what I just said, but 1 for the left speaker and 1 for the right speaker on the side. So a total of 3 of those plates on the ground. So overall, they would look I think it'd be a lot less seeable than putting all that wire mold up your wall. So let me know if that makes sense.